Welcome to Real Big Talk. Rick and Lola here with you until 5 o'clock. 304-214-1600, our phone number. You get Black Crowes in the background. Black Crowes going to be at the, whatever it's called now. It'll always be Star Lake to me. In fact, I think it's back to being called Star Lake in some form. I know Star Lake's part of it, but it has a bunch of other words. It was the music park last year, and it never opened. So now it's back to Star Lake. Maybe that's a better omen. But that show is going to happen July 28th, of which I cannot wait for. I will certainly be there. But another big show announced as we continue to open up, more things happen. Sir Elton John has been announced for PNC Park. That is going to be September the 16th, I believe. And that is going to be at PNC Park. I know that Elton John, it hasn't been recent, but in the not terribly distant past, has played right here at the West Banco Arena. Yep. And I've been lucky enough to see Elton John. If I go to this one, I think it'll be 5 or 6. And I've seen him in different forms, in different types of shows. The last time I saw Elton John was actually in the Charleston Civic Center. And he had... It was weird because you could tell he was kind of like, the show was great because, you know all the songs, everybody's singing along, it's a good time, but it was like he had this sort of explanation for why all the songs sounded different. He just rearranged, did new arrangements for the songs. And it was just like, when you've been playing these same songs over and over and over again, I just kind of needed to challenge myself to make it more fun. And so and this had to be 7 or 8 years ago. So I feel like you're going to go out on this last one, this Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour, and probably hear them the way you heard them for the first time. Because that's how you want to remember Elton John walking away. And shows at PNC Park, concerts at PNC Park, I've seen Bruce Springsteen there. I have also seen Billy Joel there. What a great atmosphere for a concert with the city in the background. And the stage is like out in the middle, towards center field. And so you get all the things that come along with the great view you get at PNC Park. I can't wait for it. Tickets go on sale June 30th, by the way. So there you go. There's one of those we're getting back to normal type things you can really hang your hat on. Speaking of, I just found out today, Lola, I know this stinks because it's going to separate us, and I hate to be away from you and do this show. When you go on vacation, I get sad. But this Friday, you won't be on vacation, and neither will I, but I will be live at the rib and chicken cook-off. I just found that out.
Oh, good. You'll have a good time.
Well, I will make sure. I will not rest until you are both ribbed and chickened.
Don't worry about me.
I love the idea of ribs and chicken. I just wanted to eat them with you. But that is going to be something that hopefully I'll see some of you guys out there. Some of you I've never met. You call all the time, and I would love to. I'd love to meet you in person. So come down there and say hello. I would really enjoy a chance to meet you in person. It's weird as I'm starting to see. Obviously, there's more guests coming into the studio now, and more people are coming up, and people are saying, "Oh, I enjoy listening to you. Never had a chance to meet. I had no idea what you looked like." Well, yeah, we've been wearing masks since the show started. So it'll be nice to get out there and do that. There's a few things that are just sort of breaking news issues that I wanted to bring up. The first one is it's just been announced maybe about a half hour ago that something we've talked about on the show, it's talked about everywhere, that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to go to the Mexican border this Friday, tomorrow, or 2 days from now. So, why has it taken so long? I don't know. We'll probably not ever find out the answer to it, but I know it's something we can finally put to rest because it has just been announced that she is going this Friday. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what kind of explanations are given. We'll see what we see. And the other breaking political topic, and Lola, I know this is just probably going to make you laugh, and this is why. This to me is the reason that we're broken as a country, at least one of them. Your favorite Lauren Boebert, she has come out today and asked for Joe Biden to be censured Not really sure what's going on with that, but she is just an interesting character.
I don't even know who that is.
She's one of the congresswomen that's kind of like almost Q. So
right.
yeah, so she's doing that. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break right here, and we will be back on the Watchdog.
This is Hoppy Kercheval. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for Talk Line. I have guests, conversations, texts, phone calls on all the big stories affecting us in West Virginia. So tune in weekdays right here on FM 98.1 and FM 97.7, The Watchdog.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
We can stop the spread of COVID with the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine has been researched and tested. The vaccine is safe and it works. All West Virginians age 12 and older can get a COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is free and it's available at clinics and pharmacies across West Virginia. Find a vaccine location near you. Visit vaccine.wv.gov today to get your free COVID-19 vaccine. Community immunity begins with you.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting at Menards. Stop in and check out the great selection of utility lights. The LED 2-foot wrap gives you powerful light output of 2,000 lumens. Plus, it has 3 selectable color temperatures. Right now, get 11% off all Patriot Lighting wrap lights. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Catch Biff Leonard on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. Live and local talk radio. Just the way you like it.
Welcome back. It's 2:18 here on the Watchdog. I apologize for that kind of brief or quick, I guess, the quick out that I had there. And I know a lot of people are going to be able to understand this. My mom has, if you've listened to the show before, my mom is in a nursing home. She's not in the greatest of health and condition, and she has a nodule. They found a nodule on her esophagus, and so they called to tell her that this morning at the nursing home. You know, she doesn't want to talk to anybody about that kind of stuff, but her kid. And I had no idea how to talk with her about it or explain it because I don't know what it is. They didn't call and tell me. They called and told the nursing home. And so I asked if I could get an explanation. And I said, please, just if you can, either before 2 o'clock today or anytime tomorrow morning. Of course, they call it 2:18. So it's like, there you go. But boy, there has to be a better system. Like, and I get it. Hospital workers, doctors, nurses, often it's the amount of volume of people they have to deal with. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. But it is. It would be so wonderful if there was a job, and I don't know, maybe there is a job out there that someone becomes somebody's personal like health advocate.
Yes, there are.
And just takes care of all of their stuff and just explains it to both of us at the same time. That would be fabulous. Because I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what they're talking about. But now she has to get a biopsy and stuff like that. She called this morning on my way down here and was, I don't want to say hysterical, but she was very upset. And I was like, I can't, it's a helpless feeling. It's a helpless feeling for the people that have people in this situation that love them, because it's like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't understand it myself, and I don't know what they said to you. It's like there's got to be a way to streamline.
Can't you leave word? Aren't you?
Yeah, her medical power of attorney. Yes,
They should contact you before they do anything else, and I would reinforce that with. Whatever doctor she's dealing with, that you are the first call that is made, not the last. And the same with the nursing home staff. Do not go to her with these things until you have spoken to me. And you have to be very forceful about it.
That's the problem. I've done all that. I've done all that.
Obviously, it's not working.
It's not. It's not. And that was the thing. Like today when I called the doctor's office even to find out what they had told her. They weren't going to let me even talk to a nurse because they said, well, you're not her. And I said, yeah, but you have all the paperwork. Like, it's all there. Trust me, I have to fill this out for every doctor she goes to. And when you're 77 with the kind of health problems she has, that's a lot of doctors. Mm-hmm. I fill this paperwork out a lot. And, it's like, I don't think they understand. And I think their job is to heal. But I also don't necessarily think they understand when you tell somebody who is not going to absorb that information, it goes to worst case scenario. I mean, you could go from you have a hangnail to you're about to lose your foot in about 2 seconds. It's just, so anybody out there that's struggling with this type of thing, dealing with your family members that are getting older and having these types of issues that don't necessarily have the comprehension skills that they used to have. For my mom, it's dementia, but it's just so tough. It's so tough. I understand what you're going through. And COVID certainly was not helpful for this because, my mom got to the point where she, we're all wearing masks. She didn't recognize any of the people she would regularly see at the doctor's office. That actually was just so detrimental to the whole process because you do, I think, develop at least a reasonable rapport or accountability or whatever with the doctors that you regularly see. Well, if everybody's wearing masks, they become kind of just eyes. You don't necessarily recognize them as easily, and it's just been an uphill battle. Just an uphill battle. So if you're going through that, I get you. It is certainly a tough road when it comes to that. 3 o'clock today, we're going to talk to Stephen Allen Adams. I'm looking forward to talking to Steve, as I always do. He'll kind of fill us in on everything that's going on in Charleston. I really am interested in asking Steve and talking to him about this. And maybe Lola, because I didn't catch enough of it. Again, I've been preoccupied with some other things, especially dealing with my mom. But what made Joe Manchin say yes to...
Exactly what I told you, what happened. He was in the catbird seat. So there's been compromises made, and part of it was that if he voted with the Democrats on allowing the debate, they would include the amendment that he had made to this H.R. 1. But I told you, it's politics. It's, you give me this and I'll give you this, and I knew he'd do it. I knew he would. Well, and it was easy for him to do that because everybody knew it was going to fail. I mean, so, you could go ahead and vote the way you should vote, knowing that there won't be any ramifications for it. In his particular case, there wouldn't be any ramifications for it. Went back home.
Is it me, or is this just another byproduct of how screwed up and broken this system is? It's like,
And
why?
it's not just you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, first of all, I mean, to me, there's a certain amount of credibility that comes with this. And look, generally, I think that I get a lot of what he does and what he says. But to me, coming out and saying this is something I'm going to say no to, and then, at the last minute bargaining bargaining what you want to put in there, and then coming out and saying yes, full well knowing that it really doesn't actually matter. To me, it kind of stains somebody's credibility. And that part of it bothers me.
Well, he got what he wanted. He wanted his amendment tacked onto it, and they weren't going to do it. And he got what he wanted. He got his amendment added.
I think he is, at least for the next couple of years, or at least the next year plus, he's probably going to be able to do that every time. Yeah. I mean, just to me, as someone who, from the outside looking in, I guess I don't like someone who says no and then turns around and says yes at the final minute. Like, I don't remember the no coming with I could be persuaded if the things that I want to see in there go in there. Like, I guess I look at the word no as kind of a finite word. And it just seems to me that when I read the story yesterday, or I don't remember if I read it or I heard it just, through one of our news updates, and I was just like, why come out a week ago plus? Like, why don't you just keep that meeting, I guess, or that bargaining session or that negotiation or whatever you want to call it? Why not just keep that silent and not say anything until? It's like, well, we worked it out and we got this amendment in there that I wanted to see in there, and I'm proud to vote yes. To me, it just seems like on the surface, you're flip-flopping. And I hate that. I know you're laughing at me.
Well, no, I'm not laughing at you. It just, maybe because I've been alive twice as long as you have, I have seen this all through the years. I mean, this is American politics. And so nothing that happens really surprises me. Absolutely nothing.
How do we let it get this bad? Because
it's ambivalence on the part of the electorate.
I mean, I remember
people just don't care, because I think we all have kind of the same attitude that I do, more or less to this extent. And then people don't vote. So how can you change a system when only 50% of the people that should be, of the people eligible, are taking part in it? And then you have that 50 split in half again because you're one party or the other party. So basically, the ruling party is in power by 30% of the people because so many people don't bother to vote.
I think a lot of people get certainly there's a big segment of the population just doesn't care. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. It's not going to change anything. I get that there's a big, pile of the population that feels that way. And then you have people that are uber passionate about one side or the other. I think the people in the middle of the road just think, and it's like, I don't know which evil to choose. And then you're right. There's probably, a quarter, maybe a third of America that are actually the ones. But boy, everybody has an opinion on it. That's the part that drives me nuts. If you don't actually vote, but you have an opinion on it, I think you should. I wish there was a system that automatically muted your opinion.
Wait, but I've been saying this since I've been on the air, and even before then. If you don't vote, you can't bitch. It's that simple. Don't call here bitching about something if you didn't vote. Because if you didn't vote, you didn't care enough at the time about what you're complaining about now. It's that simple.
I remember stories from, my parents, but my father was alive too. So that, that's nearly 30 years ago. Like, I remember in the 80s, the voter turnout was so low. I mean, it was just so crazy. Now, I mean, compared to now, and I mean, now obviously people are becoming more passionate about this, whether they're just cheering for one particular candidate or party across the board, whatever it is. More people voted the last time around than had in a very, very low, well, ever, the presidential, ever. But I remember back then, it was the most just like, who cares? And my mom, I remember going with my mom to vote as a kid. And I could even actually find the place, and I'm sure it's torn down by now. But I just think to myself, there was never any lines there. Like, we read these stories, we talk about all the voter reform stuff that's happening, whether it's in a particular state or, whatever each party's trying to push. And I think about all those pictures we saw around Election Day with, people standing out in the streets with their masks on. And I mean, I waited for 3 hours to vote and stuff like that. I personally have never seen voting that actually looks that way. I've never seen people have to stand in line like that in a crazy amount of line in my particular experiences. But I remember back then, it was like there was nobody there. There was just nobody there. And now we have all these people all of a sudden that the whole world has the whole country has their opinion on what, how should this go? Should it be this? Should it be that? Should you have to require this? Are you not allowed to hand out water? Which, again, I think is still maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yes, not allowed to supply water to thirsty people, especially thirsty senior citizens that might drop dead waiting there to vote. Yeah, why would you be allowed to do that? That's just, to me, ridiculous. But now we're actually seeing things like this, and it does feel like more people are involved in the process, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. More people are involved. I just don't see it changing anything. I don't see it changing anything. Yeah, I mean, you had the big change at the top, president, but people are just as mad now. Maybe they're different people that were mad before. Like, it's just, you shift the anger. It's not really a solution to a problem. A lot of this stuff doesn't become solutions to problems. It just becomes angering the different side. And now you have subsects of the parties. I mean, I read the story this morning about how the radical left, the squad and all, they're at Biden's throat right now. That should fix it. That should fix it up real good. I don't know. It seems to me that everything that we read, everybody is in it for themselves. Everybody is in it for themselves. You may have a clique. You may have a little small group of people that are in it with you. But at the end of the day, everybody's just working their own program. And we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. And that's why I was just kind of like, when I read that Biden said yes, I'm like, why come out and say no just to turn around and say yes? And I get it. He got his amendment in there and everything. And there was low risk because it was never going to go anywhere. But I don't know. To me, it seemed like a chance to take a stand and say, I said no, and I'm not going to do it. And it went by the wayside. So we're going to talk to Stephen Allen Adams. He might have some insight on that kind of stuff. That's going to be today, coming up at 3. We're going to take our break. And when we come back, we'll get into a few more topics before we get to that 3 o'clock hour and get to Steve next here on the Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. The Elk River and its tributaries could not hold 5 to 8 inches of rain over a short period of time on this day 5 years ago, and it produced historic flooding. It destroyed Herbert Hoover High School, where Principal Mike Kelly says the turnaround has been amazing.
They lost loved ones. A lot of people lost property, eventually lost jobs and things like that. So I do not want to diminish the impact of the flood, but this community has come back strong from it.
Now, the rain also hit Greenbrier County, where Joshua Haynes watched Howards Creek rise out of its banks and destroy his mobile home.
It was a mess. Just came home and decided I was getting ready to take a nap, and I'm glad I didn't. I pretty much got what I could get out and made it, and I ended up spending the night up here at the fire department.
There were 23 people in West Virginia who were killed by that floodwater 5 years ago today. In other news, cleanup work is ongoing in Marshall County after floods Monday night into Tuesday. About 2 dozen homes were flooded in the community of Cameron, and Cameron Elementary School reportedly incurred significant damage. There are now fewer than 2,000 active COVID-19 cases in West Virginia, the lowest number of cases since May 30th of 2020. The state is reporting fewer than 100 new cases today. The Big 12 SEC Challenge matchups have been announced for January 29th of 2022, West Virginia to take on Arkansas. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Investigators searching for a missing 3-month-old in the Huntington area were led to a pond in Kentucky overnight.
The Huntington Police Department is working with multiple law enforcement agencies to search a pond in Carter County, Kentucky. And that pond is located on property owned by Shannon Overstreet, who is the father of missing 3-month-old Angel Nicole Overstreet.
She has not been seen since May 8th. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. In the NBA playoffs last night, the Phoenix Suns had an inbound alley-oop with 9/10 of a second remaining, and the Suns stunned the Clippers 104-103. With the victory, Phoenix takes a 2-0 series lead in the Western Conference Finals. Game 3 will be in Los Angeles. Cameron Payne led the way for Phoenix, 29 points and 9 assists. Paul George with 26 points for the Clippers. In the NHL playoffs last night, the Montreal Canadiens defeated the Vegas Golden Knights 4-1. Montreal leads the series 3-2. NHL tonight, Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders. Tampa Bay leads the series 3-2. NBA tonight, Game 1 between the Hawks and Bucks. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
At CDW, we get that as an IT professional, your hands are full. Our experts can give you the help you need by custom configuring Apple products like the iPad and Mac, so they're ready to go right out of the box. Your employees get highly secure devices that feel familiar and operate intuitively, and you'll benefit from easy ongoing management that frees up your hands for other projects. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Apple at Work.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the Watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
Menards has Sylvania's new True Wave Natural Spectrum LED bulbs. They offer the best in lighting technology and bring out the positive feelings of happiness, relaxation, and warmth while reducing eye strain and improving the sleep cycle. Right now, save 11% on all True Wave LED bulbs. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for The Variety Show on the Watchdog.
Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was, but now I look at the night.
Welcome back to 242 here at the Watchdog. Rick and Lola with you, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. This story came out this morning. I thought it was kind of interesting because I can't believe this was something that went all the way to the Supreme Court, but it did, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of this young lady. It sided with the students on Wednesday, ruling that a former cheerleader's online F-bombs about her school is a protected speech under the First Amendment. I can't believe this story got all the way, or this case got all the way to the Supreme Court. By an 8-1 vote, the court declared that the school administrators do not have the power to punish student speech that occurs offline or off campus if it genuinely disrupts classroom study. In this case, they found that it did not. But the justices concluded that a few swear words from a post online, from off campus, across the street, was not part of the definition of disruptive. Here's basically what happened. Here's the story. So a girl, she was in a junior varsity cheerleader. She did not get promoted to varsity cheerleader after her freshman year. And she and a friend were at the Starbucks, which is across the street from the school, so not on school grounds. And she essentially used 3 F-bombs, blank cheer, blank this school, blank all of this, basically, pretty much. And that was the video. That was the whole thing. And the school then kept her off the cheerleading team permanently and punished her. Her parents thought, that's not all right. You can't do that. I'm sure they weren't happy about the language, but at the end of the day, they took this and it got all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, look, you can do that. Here's the thing for me. It's a good lesson to maybe learn that things you post online could be detrimental, or probably will be at this point, to your future. I mean, you think about it, employers oftentimes, if you apply for a job, will immediately check your socials and go, what is this person like? Because this is something you never could get a grasp on. If you walked in pre-social media, you walked in for a job interview. All they had was a piece of paper, or, even through email age, a digital piece of paper that said where you went to school and what jobs you had. It didn't have any sort of personality characteristics. I've had a couple of jobs that I had to do, like the personality tests. You have to, if you were at a red light and you had an opportunity to go and you were running late, would you go? Yes or no? That kind of thing. But now social media gives employers, and obviously in colleges, a chance to really see and get a glimpse into who they are potentially going to hire or admit to whatever the next level of whatever is. I think this is a learning experience here, but I mean, am I off base here? Do you think this is a crazy thing to get all the way to the Supreme Court? Because I got news for you. People do this to their schools, to their places of work, all the time. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying she's right, but she certainly, I don't think in too many people's minds would have broken the law or the rules. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad it did, because so many schools are using that as a tool against kids. That's not the only time I've heard that story where, a kid gets punished for something that was done or said online, away from school, that has nothing to do with whatever the school's code of conduct is, And it's just been something they've used to hang over kids' heads, I'm glad it did. Am I surprised it went all the way to the United States Supreme Court? It's a free speech argument, basically. Can an employer or a school or anybody else use anything and everything that you do to punish you? And I don't think they have the right to do that.
No, I don't think they have the right to do it either. That's what I mean. I can't believe someone along the line in the chain leading all the way to the Supreme Court didn't say, "Is this really even worth it?" What, not so much, "Oh, we made a mistake and shouldn't have done this," because nobody wants to admit to a mistake. Certainly not a school board. This happened in Pennsylvania, by the way, in Mahoning Valley. If anybody has any idea where that is, it's out past the Penn State area. But I don't know. To me, I was just kind of shocked that it got all the way there. And if it got all the way to this, how many of these cases are there out there?
A lot.
Yeah, I would imagine too. I mean, this is something that, look, I have seen people, and this is more of an employer thing. I don't know that many kids in high school, but and this, by the way, this happened in 2017, so it took till now.
Oh yeah.
It took till now.
It's not a speedy process.
No, it's not a speedy process. And in 2017, I know it's only 4 years ago, but to me, maybe this was a bigger deal in 2017 than it is now, because now seems like a free-for-all. Now it seems like you can do whatever you want, and it's just nobody is being taxed with and held responsible. Do I think it's odd that a 14-year-old girl decided to just drop 3 F-bombs on social media at 14?
No.
I guess to me it's a little shocking. Not shocking, but at least it's like, I'm surprised her parents didn't say, "Hey, don't use that kind of language." But
they may have, but they also said that the school has no right to do what they did.
yeah, well, obviously that was the point taken, was they were not going to take this lying down, that the school didn't have any right to do that. I mean, and it's different too, because you're across, like if you would have done that in a gymnasium, you were the mascot, you see the mascot and you flip the mascot, the bird, and start swearing at the bird, and you start swearing at the mascot, then yeah, I mean, I could see how this is a problem if it's inside. You're on the street, you can do anything. If you're not breaking the law, you can do pretty much anything you want. And last time I checked, words don't hurt. They're not going to create. And the idea of this whole situation was, the school was saying, well, it created a disruptive environment within the school.
Yeah, once they kicked her out.
Yes, I was going to say, that was exactly what I was going to say. It didn't probably get disruptive until the school made it disruptive.
Yeah.
She was a kid that posted something online, not on the school grounds. Like, she, I'm sure, has friends that follow her on social media that saw it, but they probably saw it at home. They saw it away from school too. So it didn't become a disruptive activity until the school decided, well, you're going to get yanked from the cheerleading team and you're going to be punished.
Yeah.
So it's like they're pointing here's the school board pointing the finger at this girl saying, you're disruptive and you created this in the school, when meanwhile, all she did was create a video that has, you know, is something to be admired? Probably not, but it's also something that happened away from the very place that they're trying to protect.
They just let it go.
Just let it go. Or, you know, call her into the office and say, look, sometimes it's hard when you don't make the team you want to make. We've all had an issue where it's like, oh man, I really felt like I deserved to be here and I didn't get it. Whether it be a job, whether it be a team, whatever it is. We're sorry that you didn't make the team. That stinks. Life goes on. Try again. Yeah, exactly. Try again next year. And if you could stop swearing, that would be great. The end.
See, people with a little bit of authority tend to take it way too far. I'm the boss of you, and I can tell you what you can do and what you can't do, because I'm the boss of you.
I get there's probably a responsibility socially. I'd love to hear from a teacher on this. 304-214-1600. Anybody that's an educator, I would love to hear your side of this, because I'm sure you have to protect the integrity of your school. I understand that. You don't want this story. You don't want this story to be created. I think really, they start with the PR nightmare and worked backwards here. You know, they started with, you know, what my grandmother always used to say, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. That was one of her favorites. And so I think that's exactly what the school did. I mean, the girl reacted like a 14-year-old girl because she's a 14-year-old girl, not getting to the second round of, you know, the next step in cheerleading or whatever. That's heartbreaking. You know, when you were 14, there's not that much stuff going on that's bigger than your activities and your friends and things like that. So, I mean, she acted like a 14-year-old girl. Was it bratty? Yeah, probably. Spoiled, maybe. You know, but that's a 14-year-old girl reaction. It's, to me, the reaction of the school board that was like really the stupid part. That's really, to me, the absolute idiocy of the whole thing.
It is.
But
it is.
I think if you are on the other side of this, and I'm trying to, and again, I'd love to hear from an educator and their thoughts on it, 304-214-1600. If you are an administrator, you're a teacher, you're on the school board, whatever, and you are trying to keep this the most positive outlook, the most positive image for your school, and you see this, you know, I don't know what the protocol is. I mean, because this obviously is something that was brought to the attention of someone who could do something about it. You know, maybe somebody's parent called the school. I mean, there's enough of that out there. Everybody wants to rat on somebody about something. So, you know, you maybe you had somebody call the school and say, hey, you know, I saw so-and-so's post and it was unbecoming of a Mahoning Valley, whatever, you know, whatever the school is. I don't know. But didn't anybody through this process think about any of that on the educational side of it? To me, I think we oftentimes, and this is, I'll just throw this out here now since we have a couple minutes. There was a big controversy on Jeopardy. Did you see this? No. One of the clues on Jeopardy, and to even go back and try to pronounce the names, I could probably not do it. But there was a clue last night about a particular disease that makes people's heart shrink. And so the clue was red, and they said this, you know, whatever it is, this four-word name for this condition that makes your heart shrink, and they called it, or known as, Grinch disease, which of course, you know, the idea of the Grinch is that his heart shrank. The people got crazy protesting Jeopardy because of the idea of the people that had that disease don't want to be labeled as Grinches. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're
Everybody
here.
is so sensitive.
I know. I can't believe we're here.
We're all victims of somebody saying something.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So even I kind of equate that to what this school did. It's like you are so sad as an administration that one 14-year-old girl saying 3 F-bombs outside your school that wasn't on school property is something that you have to take her to the gallows for. Come on. And then this Jeopardy thing last night. It's like you're telling me that whatever this disease is, and again, I can't even read it, so I can't share it, but because it has a nickname of the Grinch, and in Jeopardy's apology, I actually will say this, I hate Jeopardy's apology. I hate Jeopardy's apology.
Yeah, I don't know why they would apologize for it. If that's what the medical slang for this is, they didn't make it up.
No, and they said we used an outdated term that we didn't realize that was going to be so detrimental to the people with fill in crazy name of disease here. Stop apologizing. Stop. You can feel bad that someone has that disease, and you can wish somebody well who has that disease, but stop apologizing for reading a clue on a game show. It's not like it's some point. So my father's been dead for 30 years. Do you think everybody that said Happy Father's Day around me, I went, hey, what about those of us that don't have dads? Yeah. I mean, it's like you can't. If we don't draw a line in the sand, everybody's going to have to apologize for everything everywhere. And I mean, this is Jeopardy. It's not like, if I said something on this show that made people mad and I was told I had to apologize for it, well, I would probably do that because I probably didn't know. And that's another thing. We don't use examples of learning opportunities to teach. Billie Eilish, do you know who that is? The singer, she's a young girl. I think she's just maybe now 19. And the other day, she had to come out and apologize for something, and I don't even know what it was. But it was they said in some old TikTok video, which again, how old is TikTok? I have no idea. But she's only 19, so the idea was somebody saw her mouth something in a TikTok video that could be misconstrued as a Native American slur. And I don't know what that word is. I didn't even look. So she comes out and has to apologize for, I was just a kid. I didn't know what it meant. It's a teaching moment. You don't know if something's wrong until you learn it. So if that's, whatever it is something that's so sensitive to someone that you have to apologize for, maybe you need to tell that person, look, I didn't mean to offend you, but
I don't understand how I did.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yes, I don't know what part of what I said offended you because all the words that just came out of my mouth don't seem offensive. I mean, at some point, if we don't start to defend ourselves from defending ourselves or being apologetic for everything, we're never gonna just every word essentially is gonna be bad. I'm wearing a hat right now with George Washington swinging an axe on it. Somehow it's probably offensive to somebody who thinks George Washington was a bad person. You know what I mean? It's like everything.
Or they just love cherry trees.
Exactly. The cherry tree planters of America are very upset that got cut down.
Yes.
A long time ago.
And it's on your hat.
I know. And I paid for this hat. Damn capitalists.
See, you don't even have the excuse of saying, but it was a gift.
It was free. I can't even blame it being free. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more Stephen Allen Adams coming up next, right here on The Watchdog.
It's these expressions I never knew. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. This hour, the President and Attorney General Merrick Garland will detail the administration's gun crime prevention strategies. Homicides this past year are up 30%. ABC's Karen Travers has more.
President Biden is expected to push back on criticism from some Republicans about the recent increase in violent crime by noting that crime rates started to rise before he took office. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said violent crime has gone up not just in the past 18 months, but over the last 5 years.
He's not going to wait. And his message to the American people is he's going to take steps that he has the power to take as president.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
The U.S. on pace to wind down its military presence in Afghanistan by September 11th. But what happens next in the war-torn country is raising concerns about Taliban insurgents. ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz is in Afghanistan and says the violence has already begun.
With over half of the withdrawal complete and no peace deal in place, the Taliban is rapidly taking over towns and districts, releasing video claiming it shows Afghan soldiers peacefully surrendering weapons and military vehicles. What they aren't showing, the hundreds of Afghan soldiers that have been slaughtered.
NATO forces are also withdrawing. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meeting with European allies to discuss Afghanistan, China, and the president's meeting with Russia's leader. He's in Germany today, then France and Italy. The State Department also says Blinken will meet with Israel's new foreign minister in Rome over the weekend. Earlier today, President Biden and other dignitaries honored the life of five-term Republican Virginia Senator John Warner. His funeral held at the National Cathedral. The president said he was honored to serve alongside Warner in the Senate. Warner served from 1979 to 2009. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of four is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this, unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
While New York City awaits the results of yesterday's mayoral election, Buffalo, New York could have its first socialist mayor in decades. 38-year-old India Walton is leading over incumbent Mayor Byron Brown.
We've set out to not only change Buffalo, but to change the way progressive politics are viewed in upstate New York.
If Walton wins in November, she would also become Buffalo's first woman mayor. The temperature in Siberia soaring to record highs.
You might think of Russia as one of the coldest places on Earth, but that wasn't the case these last few days. In St. Petersburg, daily temperatures rose to 93 degrees Fahrenheit on Tuesday, the hottest temperature in the city since 1998. Meanwhile, in Siberia, the land surface temperature has widely exceeded 95 degrees, with peaks of 118 degrees. In some parts, the air temperature was the highest it's been since 1936. Russia is warming 2.5 times faster than the rest of the world. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
Hong Kong's pro-democracy Apple daily newspaper will stop publishing tomorrow. The paper's closure comes as authorities crack down on dissent following months of anti-government protests that erupted in 2019. The Apple Daily, it's the last remaining opposition newspaper. This is ABC News.
All right, we have goat yoga lattes coming up in the yoga room. Hey, Regan, can you go
At Finley's Fitness, personal trainers shouldn't have to personally do everything.
Engage that core. That class started 2 minutes ago. I am late. Hey, Dylan, can you...
Indeed can help them hire the people they need.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is ONN.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. The state health department says more than 7,500 people have died of COVID-19 in Ohio nursing homes. But one in Northwest Ohio is one of only 64 nationwide that has remained COVID-free during the pandemic. Roxanne Elias with ONN affiliate WTOL-TV in Toledo has more with the administrator, Kendra German.
The Ottawa County Riverview Healthcare Campus was able to keep its 75 residents COVID-free throughout this past year. The administrator credits the staff.
We had so much thrown at us. There are state regulations that people hear about during Governor DeWine's announcements, but a lot of times they'll forget that there's also federal regulations.
And they're not letting their guard down. Knowing COVID still exists, the facility will continue to do what it feels is right to keep COVID from getting to its residents. Roxanne Elias in Ottawa.
A woman was shot and killed in Columbus at about 3 o'clock this morning. That was the 94th homicide of the year for the capital city. It's a record pace. Beginning next year, singer Elton John will embark on a worldwide farewell tour, which will include a stop in Cleveland. John, who is 74 now, announced his concert schedule today, and he'll perform at Progressive Field on Saturday, July 30th of next year on his Yellow Brick Road tour. For more state news, go to onnradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
The best in live and local talk returns momentarily on The Watchdog.
The Ohio Valley Rib and Chicken Cook-Off is back, featuring the best ribs your taste buds can handle. Come on down to Wheeling's Heritage Port June 25th and 26th to see who can win the coveted Karen Bauer Trophy. Admission is free, so stop by for live music, free cornhole tournament, beer garden, and more. The Ohio Valley Rib and Chicken Cook-Off, June 25th and 26th at Wheeling's Heritage Port.
Create your ideal deck with lumber from Menards. AC2 pressure-treated lumber is the best choice for any outdoor project. This quality pressure-treated lumber is a renewable building product that's environmentally friendly and safe for use around children and pets. Save 11% on all AC2 pressure-treated lumber. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, a daytime high near 76, mainly clear overnight, 57 for the low. Mostly sunny and warmer for your Thursday, with highs near 86 degrees. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. Keeping it real for the right, keeping it real for the left. 100% real talk is right here. Real Big Talk continues. Now on the Watchdog, here's Big Rick.
Hoping you're having a wonderful time. And now to continue this. Come on, they'll love it. Come on, come on.
Conga, no, you can't control yourself any longer. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you fight it till you try to do that conga beat.
Welcome back. It's Big Rick and Lola here with you, 3 o'clock, well, 3:10. here on Wednesday afternoon. And joining us is Stephen Allen Adams. You read his stuff in The Intelligencer, and a few things have popped up in The Intelligencer. So Steve continues his writing spree. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, man. Exhausted.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Stephen Allen Adams stuff in The Intelligencer, which means you're working on quite a few things at one time.
Yeah, but luckily things are kind of slowing down a little bit now that we just had the vote, or really kind of lack of vote, if you want to, on the For the People Act yesterday evening. So now that that is at least dead for the time being, I can finally kind of concentrate on writing about other things.
Let's talk about that first, and then we can get it out of the way. I said to Lola, I feel like saying no and then turning around and saying yes is more detrimental than just not saying anything until you know what you're going to do. I personally don't like the way Joe Manchin handled it, but what say you? Because you're a lot closer to it than I am.
Well, I mean, it kind of went how everybody predicted it would go, though I imagine even with that said, people, particularly on the more progressive side of the political spectrum, are still upset regardless. But yesterday, the majority leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, Democrat out of New York, brought S1, the For the People Act, to the floor and tried to get what's called a cloture vote, which is basically a vote just to begin discussion of the bill. It would allow people to bring amendments to the bill, things of that nature, but that type of vote requires 60. And right now the Senate is divided equally 50-50. You do have Vice President Kamala Harris who can break ties in a 50-50 circumstance, but that doesn't help you when you need 60 votes in order to move things forward, unless you've got the votes, to break, a Republican filibuster. So they tried to bring it to the floor, but alas, the votes were not there, which means that a new version of the For the People Act that was negotiated between Schumer and U.S. Senator Joe Manchin could not be brought to the floor, because that was going to be done in the form of an amendment to S1, something that you would almost call what we call in the legislative world a strike and insert amendment that would have basically put a bunch of provisions in the bill that Manchin had wanted to see. And unfortunately, that just wasn't to be.
Is it something, Steve, that, I mean, like you said, it turned out how everybody thought it would. I mean, worst case scenario, it sounded like it could have been 51-49. It didn't seem like anybody was going to budge on this. Is this something that we can put behind us? I mean, because it doesn't seem like it's going to grow any legs anywhere.
Well, to some extent, I think what you're going to see going forward is really the things they should have done in the first place if they were serious about it. And there's some thought out there that, to be honest, that the Democrats weren't terribly serious about trying to get this bill passed. There was not a chance Republicans were going to support it in any form, just because many of the provisions, particularly dealing with how states manage elections, there's a thought that several of those provisions would have been pretty easily challenged in the federal courts and deemed unconstitutional, because they just dive too much into how states manage elections. And in this, time immemorial, states managed around elections. Now, there's been exceptions to that. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the 1960s, very much put limits on some southern states in regards to what they could and could not do in order to make sure that African American voters in the South could vote. But what you're going to see going forward with this bill, I think, is you're going to see it now chopped into pieces, such as the campaign finance portion, to try to bring some transparency to dark money donations that could be, where donors can be kind of kept hidden by donating to super political action committees and things of that nature. I think you're going to see components of this bill now go out there in piecemeal, and some of them probably we'll have a better chance of getting Republicans on board that way.
I was going to say, to me, it seems like there's a chance that maybe more people will subscribe to some of these theories if it's not all one giant blanket statement, I guess, for lack of a better word. I think there's probably a way. I mean, because let's face it, it looks like election reform in some way is something that both parties are looking at. And so I know it seems like one party is going one way with it and the other party is going the other way with it, but it also seems like election reform isn't a terrible idea to make it a more efficient process. And maybe, I'm sure it can be an improved process. So is it possible to see people getting on the same page with this somehow, or at least some parts of it?
Maybe. I think campaign finance is certainly an area where you can see some agreement between the parties. But the problem is, we're so divided as a country right now, which the Senate is the best example of it. It's divided 50-50. And the only reason the Democrats have the technical majority is because of Kamala Harris, which is why Chuck Schumer is the majority leader and not Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, who was majority leader previous to 2021, when the Georgia runoffs helped get two Democrats into the Senate. So we're so divided on all this stuff, and the hyperbole, frankly, from both sides has been exhausting, which is why I'm glad I don't really have to write about the bill anymore, or at least in the near future. Because on one side, you've got Republicans, some of whom believe that the election was stolen from Trump or by Biden. There's no evidence of that. Certainly hasn't been any evidence presented in any court of law to that effect. So some of the laws that are being passed, while not necessarily detrimental, they are being done with that motivation in mind, which makes them a little bit suspect. But on the opposite end of that, you've got Democrats, liberals, progressives that have basically tried to say the For the People Act is the last attempt to save democracy, and if you don't pass it, democracy is going to crash and fall. Democracy, I think, is perfectly fine right now the way it is. I don't think the ceiling is going to fall on anybody. So, but the hyperbole really has kind of hurt this. And like I said, piecemeal-wise, you might get Republicans on this or that. But for a lot of these things, especially dealing with how states manage their elections, Republicans are pretty hardcore against moving on anything that interferes with states' ability to do that.
We're talking to Stephen Allen Adams from The Intelligencer. Before we get off this subject, Stephen, we take a quick break. I did see two things that I wanted to mention to kind of piggyback off of the things that you were saying. One, I read a study the other day, and this was from NPR, so it doesn't really. I don't know how how to base what I read, but it says that 57% of people feel like the election isn't completely right. Whether that was it stolen, was it interfered with, was it like they don't believe it. Just the exact numbers are the exact numbers. And so I can't imagine what it's like if just regular citizens feel that way, and you're trying to write stories, do research, and talk to people in your line of work who also are still carrying that. I mean, it's a bigger story than it, in my mind, I have looked at people that thought the election was stolen and gone, this is not the majority of people, but it actually seems to not be going away. And it's really very present in what you do, is it not?
Oh, yeah, for certain, especially in this state and in West Virginia that, went so overwhelmingly for Trump. And though our elections went fine, mostly because of actions that were taken by our leaders to move election dates around and to make it easier to vote. Incidentally, those are some of the same reasons that Republicans in other states feel that their election was interfered with. The only reason you didn't see a big outcry in West Virginia was because, it was a Republican Secretary of State that moved those dates around and made those changes, and Donald Trump still won. So in many cases, you're seeing people, upset because in their state, Donald Trump lost. It really does affect a lot of things, unfortunately, and it doesn't. And I've never had to have this argument with anyone, but I hear it tell anecdotally when this comes up in conversations with family members or whatnot. It gets really contentious. Plus you still have the QAnon, cult out there that keeps pushing some of these things. So it's very much becoming sort of the equivalent of 9/11 trutherism or birtherism. It's just a new conspiracy theory, and unfortunately, it doesn't matter how hard you try to dislodge those type of ideas out of people's heads. People are pretty adamant about sticking with it.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. We'll talk about some different things. You at least on this show, you no longer have to report on that today. I'm sure you are happy to be done talking about that. Steve, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and get into some of the other things. Like I said, you have been riding up a storm in the Intelligencer, so we'll talk about a couple of those other subjects coming up next here on The Watchdog.
There's variety shows, and then there's, my variety show. I'm Bill DeFabio, and I bring you the best variety talk in the Ohio Valley, quite possibly the world. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, noon till 2 on The Watchdog.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold. 18 and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
Trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man.
324 here at the Watchdog. We're on the phone with Stephen Allen Adams. You read his stuff in the Intelligencer. He has had a lot of things in there. So, Steve, like you said a little earlier, things are starting to slow down. But boy, you've had a hectic, probably beginning of the week. What else do we need to know about if people miss the stories in the Intelligencer?
Well, tomorrow you can read a story in the Intelligencer where I have a preview of what's going to happen tomorrow for the special session that Governor Justice called. Try to move around some surplus tax revenue money before the end of the fiscal year in order to try to push some projects that they see a real need for. And of course, West Virginia has had a very, very successful fiscal year budget, which of course ends next week on Wednesday for fiscal year 2021. We ended the month of May with about a $380-some million surplus year to date, fiscal year to date. We've already put 150 of that into roads and road maintenance. That was done at the beginning of June in a special session. And now before the end of the fiscal year, with the tax revenue that we've already have brought in since the beginning of June, the governor wants to try to transfer some of that money, into multiple projects. Some of that includes trying to capitalize on the New River Gorge National Park and try to develop some economic development around there, especially for tourism, improvements to state parks, because there's a lot of demand for our state parks, especially now you can book online, and now they have platform tents you can rent. So there's a lot of demand. So they want to build new campsites, all sorts of things. The new economic development department wants some money in order to use for the help with closing costs for companies wanting to set up in West Virginia. The correctional system in the state needs a lot of renovations, regional jails and state prisons. So there's going to be a lot of money going for that. So a lot of little projects that the governor's trying to use this money for, as well as to top off our state rainy day fund, which right now is just a little short of $1 billion. So not a lot of controversial stuff here. I've talked to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. There'll be maybe some debate on how this is being done, but for the most part, all these items should get some support tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say these types of things seem like, as long, however they're written, obviously matters, and we can, seeing more and more examples of how things are written and what else is included. But all the things you just said are things that I don't think anybody can really start to argue that aren't needed. I know that we have a little bit of a story up here in our area in Ohio County. We were talking about it yesterday with our guy Bob from WTRF about how the counties are going to be more responsible for an increase in the more tax money is going to be needed for the prison system, and it's you've got people scrambling in these counties trying to figure out how are we going to pay for that.
Well, let me kind of jump in there real quick, because there was a bill added to the special session call yesterday that will actually keep regional jail per diem costs frozen until July 1, 2022. That was set to expire next week, Wednesday, which is why counties were definitely concerned about regional jail costs, because you were going to see those fees increase for counties. But there is a bill on the agenda tomorrow, which I'm sure will get probably unanimous support, I would think, that will keep those rates frozen. So that should help out with that particular issue, which is a huge issue for counties, especially counties, seeing a spike in crime and arrests. It costs a lot of money to put a bunch of people into regional jail, which is why, for lesser crimes, a lot of them are being let out and finding or released on personal recognizance, or given ankle bracelets or whatever. That way they can try to defray the costs of having to send somebody to any of the regional jails in the state. So that should actually help with that issue.
Okay, because I know yesterday when we did talk to our friends at WTRF, they were saying how a lot of these counties were really scrambling to do that. I'm sure that is a sigh of relief to think that would cruise through for a lot of counties. because it seems odd to me, and maybe you can explain it to me in layman's terms that I don't understand, because this is a lot of stuff that I don't understand. The way you talk about what our surplus budget is, we got this rainy day fund. It feels like West Virginia is just swimming in it. At least that's the way it sounds. I mean, I obviously understand that it's also very expensive to do a lot of these projects, but am I crazy to think that West Virginia is doing better than it feels like it's doing financially?
Well, one thing you got to keep in mind is a lot of things are being offset to a certain extent with the influx of federal coronavirus relief funds that have poured into the state since March 2020. You've got the CARES Act, you've got the under Trump, you've got the Biden American Rescue Plan. Now, you can't use any of those funds to offset, say, an increase or decrease in taxes. But you can use that money to obviously pay for coronavirus-related expenses, certain infrastructure expenses, and that sort of thing. So that does free up money to a certain extent, and that helps out a lot. Now, keep in mind also, you've got people that have been getting unemployment and using that to purchase things. You got people that have been getting, the $1,200 checks, that we've received a couple times now. Things of that nature. So people have been buying more, paying off credit cards, things like that, and spending more. So that has helped out to a certain extent. We've moved our income tax filing deadlines twice. We did it in 2020 and we did it again in 2021. This time we only just moved it to April to May. Last year, we did it from April to July. So you're talking about a situation where there's just more money than what normally would be. And it's not to say that we're not going to have good, tax revenue situations for next fiscal year or the fiscal year after that. It just depends on how they set the budget, how they set the revenue estimates, and just how conservative they keep those estimates. But you're looking at a situation where right now, because of all these things, we have an opportunity to have extra money that normally we wouldn't have. And I don't think you'll see this type of surplus at the end of the fiscal year from here on out, but we have it this year, so that's why they're in a real hurry to try to use that, because keep in mind, if they just let that sit there till the end of the fiscal year, starting on July 1 next week, half of whatever surplus is there goes immediately into the rainy day fund. So then you can't use it. So they can use it now, and they feel comfortable using it now because the rainy day fund that we have is already very strong.
We're talking to Stephen Allen Adams of the Intelligencer, and I thought this was, by asking you this question, I want to follow up with this one. When, and you gave a lot of honest and reasonable answers to why it feels like we have, in the state of West Virginia, it feels like there's a cushion. I mean, everybody likes to keep a couple extra $100 somewhere if they can, and have a cushion in case something goes wrong, and a rainy day fund and all those types of things. What I'm hearing from you is it's not going to remain this way. And when we get to a point where it's a little more leveled out as far as the playing field goes, when tax day is tax day again, when there isn't federal dollars rolling in because of a global pandemic, is it going to feel like a pinch? Because it isn't going to be the same. There isn't going to be as much money circulating, and certainly influxed. And I thought your reasoning was fantastic. People had extra money, so they went out and spent it. And that is a lot of revenue for the state as far as, state taxes. And, so I'm suggesting here that when we look at this a year from now, if we had this conversation a year from now or 2 years from now, I wonder if people are going to go, oh, remember the good old days when we had a big pile of money during that global pandemic? I think that that's something that we might feel down the road.
It's possible, but I'll push back on that a little bit, and here's why. The fiscal year budget that we developed, or rather the legislature developed this past legislative session, actually came in less, was a little bit less than the fiscal year budget that got crafted during the legislative session in 2020, which, if you recall, was before the pandemic set in. So they're doing a good job of, between the governor and the legislature, crafting fairly conservative budgets. And I think you're going to see a situation where I think we're still going to do okay. We're not going to get in, keep in mind, if they didn't take all this money, we were probably going to see somewhere between $400 and $450 million surplus. That's very, very much outside the norm. You're probably going to see more modest sums, say 20 million surplus, 40 million, 60 million surplus at the end of the fiscal year. So point being, this budget's actually less than the previous fiscal year budget. And as a result, if things come in above estimates, then that's wonderful. And that just goes into surplus. But the fact that they had kept the budget revenue estimates about the same as the previous year kind of tells me that they're not getting a big head with this money, and we should be okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Stephen Allen Adams from The Intelligencer. What else are you working on, or what have you been working on that you want to share? Because, again, I know you have been very busy.
Well, obviously, we've been all over the most recent COVID numbers. We just celebrated the state's birthday and Father's Day and the end of masks and, Baby Dog Day.
Your favorite.
And we had a really good Sunday, good West Virginia day. And really, things felt normal for sure. Looking at the current active cases as of today, we have went below 2,000. We're sitting at 1,957 cases, active cases in the state. To put that in perspective, that's 0.11% of the state's population has COVID right now. It's fantastic. Fantastic numbers. Our hospitalizations are below 100. We're talking 91 hospitalizations. Out of those 91, only 32 people are in ICUs for COVID. Fantastic. Now, we didn't hit our 65% partial vaccination goal by June 20th. That's okay. We're sitting at, right now, 62.6% of eligible West Virginians at the age 12 or older to have at least one COVID vaccine in the state. And even better than that, the entire state on the county alert system map is green except for one county, and that's Mingo. Mingo's in the orange. Mingo, and I just looked up the numbers a little bit ago, has the lowest partial vaccination rate in the state. I think that's playing a big role in the number of cases you're seeing there. But every other state is in the green for having low infection rate and low percent of positivity. So things are really, really good right now in West Virginia, and assuming that the Delta or India variant doesn't come into the state and start to really wreck with people that haven't been vaccinated already, we are looking good for the summer.
Steve, I remember us having so many conversations weekly about COVID numbers, and I remember talking to you not only on the air, but certainly some of our private conversations where, honestly, it was the most frustrating thing for you to talk about because you were it was just a deluge of information. This is the first time in a long time I can remember you brought it up. I was going to ask, but you brought it up, and you actually had the sound of your voice was like, I may not have to report on this much longer. You actually sounded optimistic there, which is not something I can say that you've always had that to talk about it. So this is really good. And you said we're at 62.5 of all eligible West Virginians or so? 62.5?
That's right. And that's, again, partial vaccination. But when you break it down even from there, if you look at our most vulnerable population, which is obviously our older population, age 65 and older, 86% of that part of our population is partially vaccinated. That's a great number to have. And that's going to keep hospitalizations low. It's going to keep deaths low. Unfortunately, we're still going to see deaths. And I think if you see the India variant start to make its presence more known, you'll see spikes here and there. But it's something that right now is manageable both at the state level and the local level. And so, I mean, all this is just fantastic news. I mean, keep in mind, this time last summer, we were seeing similar numbers, but things were still going up, and we never knew how high they were going to get. So hopefully this bodes well, not only for the people that are vaccinated, but even the people that aren't getting vaccinated. And by the way, go get your vaccination. But for those that aren't getting vaccinated, the more people that we have vaccinated should, provide some protection to them to some extent.
Yeah, well, this is such great news, Steve. I appreciate it as always, my friend. Don't work too hard the rest of the week. If Jim wants you to write a story, you say no. Tell him.
That'll go real well.
Yeah, tell I'm not attending this. Sorry, Jim. Unless Baby Dog is there, of course. Although I did see Baby Dog in some goggles, and it looked pretty cool. I can't lie.
Well, yeah. He was cruising in style in his own wagon.
I saw that's pretty great. Steve, good stuff, man. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All
All right,
brother.
Take care. Stephen Allen Adams, read his stuff in the Intelligencer. We'll be back here on the Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. The Elk River and its tributaries could not hold 5 to 8 inches of rain over a short period of time on this day 5 years ago, and it produced historic flooding. It destroyed Herbert Hoover High School, where Principal Mike Kelly says the turnaround has been amazing.
They lost loved ones. A lot of people lost property, eventually lost jobs and things like that. So I do not want to diminish the impact of the flood, but this community has come back strong from it.
Now, the rain also hit Greenbrier County, where Joshua Haynes watched Howard's Creek rise out of its banks and destroy his mobile home.
It was a mess. Just came home and decided I was getting ready to take a nap. I'm glad I didn't. I pretty much got what I could get out and made it, and I ended up spending the night up here with the fire department.
There were 23 people in West Virginia who were killed by that floodwater 5 years ago today. In other news, cleanup work is ongoing in Marshall County after floods Monday night into Tuesday. About 2 dozen homes were flooded in the community of Cameron, and Cameron Elementary School reportedly incurred significant damage. There are now fewer than 2,000 active COVID-19 cases in West Virginia, the lowest number of cases since May 30th of 2020. The state is reporting fewer than 100 new cases today. The Big 12 SEC Challenge matchups have been announced for January 29th of 2022, West Virginia to take on Arkansas. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Investigators searching for a missing 3-month-old in the Huntington area were led to a pond in Kentucky overnight.
The Huntington Police Department is working with multiple law enforcement agencies to search a pond in Carter County, Kentucky. And that pond is located on property owned by Shannon Overstreet, who is the father of missing 3-month-old Angel Nicole Overstreet.
She has not been seen since May 8th. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
This is your VSIN Action Update on the Watchdog. This Action Update is brought to you by Keeps. Tired of losing your hair? Get 50% off for your first order at keeps.com/vsin. Keeps.com/vsin.
The NASCAR Cup Series racing at Pocono on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's Pocono Organic CBD 325. Kyle Larson, the +210 favorite. Denny Hamlin 7-1. Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, both 8-1. Kevin Harvick, Mark Truex Jr., William Byron, all 10-1. PGA Tour, the Travelers Championship of the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. Bryson DeChambeau 12-1. Dustin Johnson 14-1, while Brooks Koepka is 16-1. NBA Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 today. The Bucks laying 7.5 at home against the Hawks. For VSIN.com, I'm Mike Sennett on the Watchdog.
Island Pawnbrokers is now your local firearm dealer. In a pinch? Need cash quick? See us before going to the big box stores. Paying top dollar for firearms, gold, silver, tools, coins, and electronics. Don't lose your good credit. Let us give you instant cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Island Pawnbrokers,
Stop in for instant cash.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage
My
Merchants.
little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care
Hi,
of you.
Toppy Kirchville. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock for Talk Line. We'll talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia, top political figures, sports personalities, sometimes just plain folks offering their opinions on what's happening today. 10 till noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on, down. I hear you breathing down. Well, I can ease your pain, get you on your feet again. Relax. Need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain you all see.
Welcome back. It's 346 here at the Watchdog. Lola, I meant to ask Steve this, and we just kind of ran out of time. I probably could talk to Steve for the full hour if we could. The extended unemployment that he did bring up, it ended in West Virginia last week, correct?
Yeah.
I wonder how that is going to impact our state economy. I mean, it is going to. I mean, we know that it is. I wonder how it is going to impact because, people that were living on unemployment through this whole pandemic, and there's still people that need unemployment. This is not me bashing unemployment in any way, shape, or form. I had to use it myself. I had no choice, and I had never done that before. And I will say this: I can see how some people get caught up in it. I hated being at home. That to me was the hardest part. But when you know X number of dollars are coming in, then you learn to live within those X number of dollars coming in. It's the same thing as you have a job and you're like, okay, well, X number of dollars come in. This is what I have to live on, and you make a budget and you do it. I mean, not everybody does it that way, but it's something that you can do. I wonder if, because, I know that, you on the weekends, you'll go out to eat and things like that. Places are packed. Places are packed. I will give it that. There's a lot of people out, especially going to eat dinner. Now that the extended unemployment is over, and if anybody has an examples of this, we'd love to have you call 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. I wonder if less people will be going out to restaurants now that extended unemployment is over. Because it goes back to, well, you take away $300 a week, and I think the most you can get in West Virginia is $424 before taxes. I think that is the highest your unemployment can be, $424 before taxes. This is going to severely cut people down, I think, on going out. What do you think?
I would imagine so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the people that I know that have been on unemployment, I wouldn't say that going out to eat was a high priority. So, you know, I don't know how it's going to affect it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it. I mean, obviously, with people having less money, they're going to spend less money, regardless of where they go. I guess I just used going out to eat as an example. But maybe it wasn't the best one, but I am interested to see what it does to the state economy over the next couple of weeks. See if people save money and are going to keep,
Go out and get a job and pay taxes.
There is a record number of jobs. Now, I get it; they're not all jobs that people are anxious to go do. But
if you don't have any money coming in, you're going to do what you have to do.
And that's where I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because people are going to have to, like, at one point, and I think it was Trump's daughter that said, "Well, just go out and find something else to do."
You can find another job.
Yeah,
a different job. You can just change.
Yeah, well,
at 60.
Yeah, it's not that easy. It was like, I remember, because I was in that boat.
He was just like so clueless.
Yeah, I was in that boat. It was like, I had done the same two things my whole adult life. And it was like, I don't know that it's not like I can take radio experience and event planning experience and turn that into becoming a banker. Like, that's just not how it goes. And if I'm experienced in one thing, I shouldn't have to start over at the bottom again. I mean, you do what you have to do, and I can appreciate that. We all do what we have to do. At least we should. But I was just like, that's not how this works. But I think now you're looking at a situation where, people may have no choice if their jobs don't come back, or the industry in which they work doesn't come back. You're going to have to see people that are going to go do different things for the first time ever. It's going to be interesting to watch that unfold. Do we have Bob on the line from WTRF?
No, it's Tom.
Oh, hey, Tom, what's up?
Is Bob going to call in a minute?
I don't know. Yeah, well, he's a couple minutes late, so there must be something hot going on in the newsroom. But I'll take your call anytime, Tom. What's going on?
Okay. Well, I know people that work at Cabela's. All right, and since Bass Pro took them over, they've got a terrible business model. But like, they're making $15 an hour now. But if you're a new hire, you make 10 cents less than $15 an hour, with a $250 bonus. So if you've been there 10 years, the people that just walked off the street are making more money than you are. But here's how bad their business model is, Rick. They've got 150 semi-truckloads of stuff that are returns, and they're sending stuff from all over the country. If you lived in California and you bought a pair of pants, you spend $12 to have the thing shipped back to Wheeling, West Virginia. And it's sitting in these tractor trailers because there's nobody there to put it on the shelves and reorganize the stuff. And I know my friend, he works for a trucking outfit, and they've got all their trailers sitting in Cabela's parking lot.
You know what, Tom? That doesn't. Neither one of the things you just brought up shocked me. And Lola and I talked about this the other day a little bit. When people are looking for jobs now that the unemployment has run out, or at least the extended unemployment has run out, if you don't go out and get the job now that's like starting salary $18 an hour or whatever, in 2 months or a month, when people are now having to go back out and get jobs, that starting salary is going to go back to $14 an hour. I mean, if you don't strike now, and you're right, it's not right that people that have been working at a place for X number of years or months even are making less money than the people they're bringing in now. That to me is not fair.
And they're not going to get the $250 bonus. But these people, but these people are walking out in hordes. They're like, and it's hot, man. You know what I mean? You're going in there and you're in an upper story putting blobbers away and stuff. But it's all returns. You follow what I'm saying? It's stuff that they sent back, and they're sending it from all over the country and putting it back on the shelf. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, Tom, Amazon, in many cases, if you want to return something, tells you don't bother because we can't put it back, essentially, is kind of the logic there. It's like we couldn't hire enough people to actually process your returns. I have a friend, this is a true story, bought a couch, which I didn't even know you could buy couches from Amazon, but he bought a couch. The couch shows up. It is the wrong couch. And he called, he went through the online, and they were like, just keep it. We'll send you the right one. So it's like, you got an extra couch. I mean, that's not a cheap item, but they just don't care.
But Gabe's is getting a lot of their returns and selling them. I mean, they must get it for pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean? A lot of just all sorts of stuff. I mean, my wife bought a pair of hedge trimmers.
Yeah.
I mean, loppers. I mean, from Gabriel Brothers. But I mean, I guess they're getting a lot of Amazon returns. But I just thought I'd throw that out there, man. It's just the jungle out there, man.
No, it is. It is. I appreciate it, Tom.
See you, man.
All right, buddy. Take care. Yeah, I mean, Tom's right. I haven't seen the tractor trailers behind Cabela's with all the returns in them, but this is every store that's going through this. There's not enough people to go through returns. And he brought up Gabe's. I'll say this. I have gone, my mom needs different stuff all the time. And put it this way. Things disappear in nursing homes. They disappear in nursing homes.
Yes, they do.
I keep a permanent marker in both of my vehicles because anytime I take my mom something, I have to write her name on it, which I'm fine with. I mean, that seems logical. There's a lot of people in there. I think I have supplied half of that nursing home with clothes because they don't come back when they go to the wash. And I don't have the time to go over every week, get those clothes, wash. I mean, I barely have time to wash my own clothes. So I have to rely on them to do it. And a lot of stuff just doesn't return. And so I go to Gabe's to buy her stuff because
I did too with my mom.
Yeah, I mean, I can afford to lose a $7.99 shirt. I can't afford to go to Macy's and lose a $50 shirt. So I unfortunately, it's like I have to do this so frequently. I go to Gabe's and I have no issues with that. But I was there the other day. There's a Columbia outlet right near my house at the Tanger outlet. I went into Gabe's. There was a whole 2 full racks of Columbia stuff for 35% of the price at the store. And I was like, how does this stuff end up here? Tom's probably right.
Oh, I'm sure.
They probably just you know what? Buy this whole crate. Buy just this, whatever it is, just pennies on the dollar. Buy this whole crate of returns and just go from there. Well, imagine that on such a big level, a Cabela's, like Amazon done. It's just maddening. Just maddening. We got a couple minutes before the break. Who do we got online? Oh, okay. I thought I saw the phone break. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff out there that circulates that you really can. If you are a bargain shopper right now, the world is your oyster. And I got to tell you, if you're looking for something, go to Facebook Marketplace because that is where people that don't have to send their items back to Amazon are like, well, this isn't what I wanted. So they're selling it, making a profit, and getting their original item sent to them again from Amazon. I mean, it's becoming a business where people are, well, I'm going to order this, tell Amazon I don't want it, they let me keep it, and then I go online and sell it.
I hope they catch people that do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's people doing it.
But, I over the past year and a half, everybody was shopping online, and getting stuff delivered. And then once they actually had time to look around, they went, what the hell did I just buy?
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff I'm sure got returned just because they got it and then went, I really don't need this. Why did I buy it? That impulse shopping when you're on your computer and an ad pops up.
Oh, yeah.
I bought more stuff that doesn't work, and it's not worth it to me. It wasn't such a huge expense that I'm going to go through the trouble, especially if it's not an Amazon, it was just some weird thing, It didn't work, or it certainly wasn't what they advertised it to be. So it's all like sitting on my dryer, but I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to return stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I know it's just through the pandemic, I have a buddy who actually quit his job, and what he would do is get up every morning, go to the mall, and buy all the versions of the newest tennis shoes that came out and sell them online for double the price. He made more money doing that than he did going to work. It's crazy to me. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into the 4 o'clock hour. We still got a whole list of topics to get through today. We'll take your calls too, 304-214-1600. This is The Watchdog.
Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At the White House, President Biden will detail plans this next hour addressing a rise in gun violence over the past year and ahead of summer, with law enforcement bracing for more violence as pandemic restrictions lift. ABC's Cecilia Vega has details.
He wants communities to be able to use millions from that COVID relief plan that he passed back in March to hire more police officers, invest in programs aimed at preventing gun violence, like summer jobs for young people around the country. There's also now a Justice Department plan to tackle and to really crack down on gun trafficking in 5 large cities. This is where police say so many of the guns used in crimes there are coming from outside the area.
Vice President Kamala Harris heading to El Paso, Texas Friday to get a first-hand look at the influx of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Despite traveling to Central America and holding meetings with foreign nations on stopping illegal immigration at the source, Republicans have criticized Vice President Harris for not visiting the border until announcing she'll go this Friday.
We made an assessment within our government about when it was an appropriate time for her to go to the border.
Spokesperson Jen Psaki saying the problem is more complex than a simple public visit to the border. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
The creator of McAfee antivirus software has been found dead in a Spanish prison. John McAfee died just hours after the court okayed his extradition to the U.S. to face securities fraud charges. Vaccinations hitting a hesitancy wall and the Delta variant spreading across states. Many U.S. governors urging people 12 and up to get their COVID-19 vaccine. In New Jersey, the state hit the target of getting 70% of adults partially vaccinated, but hospitalizations are also going up. Health Commissioner Judy Pusha-Kelly.
Many of these new hospitalizations are due to individuals who are not vaccinated.
The CDC says the Delta variant accounts for 20% of all new COVID-19 infections nationwide. That percentage, the CDC says, is increasing every 2 weeks. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of 4 is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this: unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
The Supreme Court today sided with Brandy Levy, a Pennsylvania high school cheerleader, suspended from the team after a vulgar Snapchat post. In an 8-1 decision, the court ruled the school violated her First Amendment rights by overreaching their power. Brandy says she learned about today's decision on Twitter.
So basically saying students do enjoy the protections of the First Amendment when they're, engaging in speech with their peers and friends. But schools do have, as Devin was saying, some regulatory authority if student speech is disruptive, if it involves cheating, if there are threats or bullying. So it's the court doing a kind of a delicate balance that preserves strong speech rights for students.
ABC legal analyst Kate Shaw. The Supreme Court agreed the school's interests remain significant in some off-campus circumstances. A giant in the airline industry stepping down.
Gary Kelly has led the growth of Southwest Airlines over his 35 years in the company, buying other airlines, expanding to Hawaii and internationally. He's been CEO since 2004. Now giving up that title, Kelly saying he's most proud that even through the worst of times, Southwest Airlines has never had a single layoff or furlough in its 50-year history.
ABC's Alex Stone. Actor Harrison Ford taking a break from filming Indiana Jones 5 after getting injured on the set. A spokesperson for the Walt Disney Company, which is the parent company of ABC News, said the 78-year-old injured his shoulder while rehearsing a fight scene. Production will continue when his treatment's evaluated. This is ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. Use Microban 24 sanitizing spray to keep surfaces sanitized all day. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Microban 24 keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours, touch after touch. When used as directed, Microban 24, touch after touch, it doesn't give up.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is ONN.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. The state health department says more than 7,500 people have died of COVID-19 in Ohio nursing homes. But one in Northwest Ohio is one of only 64 nationwide that has remained COVID-free during the pandemic. Roxanne Elias with ONN affiliate WTOL-TV in Toledo has more with the administrator, Kendra German.
The Ottawa County Riverview Healthcare Campus was able to keep its 75 residents COVID-free throughout this past year. The administrator credits the staff.
We had so much thrown at us. There are state regulations that people hear about during Governor DeWine's announcements, but a lot of times they'll forget that there's also federal regulations.
And they're not letting their guard down. Knowing COVID still exists, the facility will continue to do what it feels is right to keep COVID from getting to its residents. Roxanne Elias in Ottawa.
A woman was shot and killed in Columbus at about 3 o'clock this morning. That was the 94th homicide of the year for the capital city. It's a record pace. Beginning next year, singer Elton John will embark on a worldwide farewell tour, which will include a stop in Cleveland. John, who is 74 now, announced his concert schedule today, and he'll perform at Progressive Field on Saturday, July 30th of next year on his Yellow Brick Road tour. For more state news, go to ONNradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local, just the way you like it.
Create your ideal deck with lumber from Menards. AC2 pressure-treated lumber is the best choice for any outdoor project. This quality pressure-treated lumber is a renewable building product that's environmentally friendly and safe for use around children and pets. Save 11% on all AC2 pressure-treated lumber. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
We can stop the spread of COVID with the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine has been researched and tested. The vaccine is safe and it works. All West Virginians age 12 and older can get a COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is free and it's available at clinics and pharmacies across West Virginia. Find a vaccine location near you. Visit vaccine.wv.gov today to get your free COVID-19 vaccine. Community immunity begins with you.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, a daytime high near 76, mainly clear overnight, 57 for the low. Mostly sunny and warmer for your Thursday, with highs near 86 degrees. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. News, talk, sports, and rock is all right here, right now. Back to Real Big Talk with Big Rick on the Watchdog.
Welcome back to the Watchdog. It's 410. Rick and Lola hanging out with you till 5 o'clock. We're happy to take your calls. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. A couple things I wanted to mention today because I certainly think it's worth it. Very cool. The Bridge Tavern and Grill, they are partnering up with Main Street Bank in their annual Meals for Heroes that's going on today. So Meals for Heroes. Here's how it works. If you're a local police officer, fire, EMT worker, or support staff for these folks, your meal is free today at the Bridge Tavern. So that's a very nice thing to do.
Yes, it is. And Bridge is a very good place to eat.
Yeah, so they are, they're doing it upright, and they are, look, in this crazy world that we're in, the fact that somebody's doing something nice is something that certainly needs to be mentioned. And the fact that they're taking care of police officers, fire, EMT, that's a good thing to always appreciate, but actually a business showing how much they care and actually feeding them for free is certainly an awesome thing. So if you're in that community or know someone who is, the idea, go enjoy a free meal, take your family with you, take your friends with you, and show them a little love. Bring them some business too. I mean, this is community. That is the very sense of community. We'll take care of our community, take care of us, and then we are working in unison to make this a stronger community. So I thought that was a nice thing and worth mentioning. So thanks to them for doing that and taking care of those folks. Also, just got this, worth mentioning now, and certainly going to follow up with it. Maybe even tonight, send out a message, unless, Lola, maybe you even know somebody, or our buddy Mark, who often calls us from Marshall County, working in the health department. Maybe he could lead us to some of this. But obviously, as you know, the Cameron area got hit really hard with flooding, and that is something that those folks are still cleaning up. They're in need of some help. So donations are needed for the flood cleanup due to Monday's heavy rainfall and flash flooding. Communities in Marshall County need help cleaning up. Items such as heavy-duty rubber gloves, mops, sponges, fans, disinfectants, heavy sponges, and bleach are certainly needed. There's a GoFundMe page that's been set up as well. Monetary and product donations will be accepted Friday, July 2nd. So this is something that you can build up to help too. Supplies can be dropped off at the Marshall County Public Safety Building, located at 601 7th Street in Moundsville. And checks can be mailed. If you want to donate by check, you can do that. It can be mailed to the Marshall County FRN. That is, you can get that address. It is 1501 2nd Street in Moundsville. Please write flood relief in the memo line of the check if you want to give. So that's something that I'm going to investigate and try to get somebody on here to talk to us about it and try to help out. You know, that's again, community. Help your neighbors. If you need help and your neighbors are there to help you, now is the time that those neighbors in Marshall County need help. So please lend them a hand, and we'll be happy to help any way we can. I don't think we mentioned this enough. I know we have a little PSA running. If there's things going on in the community, tell us. Call us. Come to visit us and tell us. Tell us all about it.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. I mean, this is what it's absolutely what we're here for. Tell us and call us. We want to hear from you. I saw this and I thought it was fake. It's not fake. Chinese Foreign Ministry calls for Wuhan Institute of Virology to be awarded the Nobel Prize. I was like, I saw that and I thought this has to be like from The Onion. It wasn't. The Chinese Foreign Ministry is calling for the Wuhan Institute, which of course is the center of a lot of controversy, to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. What?
Well, let's face it, the pandemic did clean up all the waters around the world, whales and porpoises and all kinds of animals could finally swim in rivers and and canals that they never were able to do. The people in India could actually see the Taj Mahal because there was no smog in the air. So, yeah, they kind of cleaned up the environment for a good 12 months.
Good for you for finding a silver lining and all that. You know
Hey.
what? You know what though? That is true. I look. I'm not. I'm not raving about the pandemic here, but the Earth did heal a little bit.
Yes, it did. A lot. It was amazing. And how clean the air got. You know, it was just, in the waters. In Venice, there were actually dolphins or porpoises or whatever, some big fish, that was swimming in the canals.
I
They
saw that.
haven't been able to do that in decades because of the pollution, So, hey,
Good for you. That is a positive spin.
thank you.
No, it is true. The way the environment healed. I mean, I said a little. Lola said a lot. I don't know that the environment can never completely heal from some of the things that we've done to it, but it did. It changed a lot of things for a lot of animals, a lot of creatures. The quality of air. I guess growing up in Clairton, where there was nothing but a steel mill and it always smelled bad. I guess in my brain I've been so used to taking in bad air. Then I moved to Parkersburg, which also does not have a high air quality. When the pandemic happened and I could go outside and play golf, for example, the trees seemed greener, the grass seemed greener. It really did change. I think the way that the earth was healing itself, and in the way that animals were doing different things that they probably were instinctually meant to do, but had to learn not to do.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we are going to go back there and ruin the hell out of all that progress.
Absolutely. So I hope y'all enjoyed it while it lasted, there, animals.
I wish there was a way, and we're in America, we seem to be back into full swing. I mean, at least as close to it as we've been in 16 months or whatever. It is troublesome that we are just going to turn around and ruin all that. I mean, they were finding species of things that haven't even existed in a long time. I don't even know how that's possible. But it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. Sometimes we just can't get out of our own way. We don't learn anything.
I know.
We don't learn anything. We see something that looks like it's come to fruition. It's like, wow, look at this. These things are growing. We haven't seen this happen in a long time. We're like, just crush it. We need to just keep rolling through. And
Humans are the most arrogant and ignorant species on the planet.
Oh, by far. By far. What we think we deserve in this world and how we take it is not good. I'm glad you mentioned species and planet. I read, and we didn't get to it. It was on my list last week, and I don't know where that list went, but somebody, I think it was a congressman, was asked about the upcoming release of information about UFOs. And his response was, America is not ready for what's about to happen. Or no, America can't handle what's about to happen. Now, I don't know if that meant with the release of this stuff. I mean, I don't know if our minds are truly going to be blown. Or maybe he knows something that I'm not trying to go down a path here where I think we're about to have to, worship our alien overlords or anything. But there is something, whenever this thing comes out, and it's in July, right? That big, I think it's coming up next month.
I think it's July.
Yeah, I mean,
well, they say.
Yeah,
Will they actually do anything?
Yeah, I mean, we basically spent this pandemic with the government confirming that there are aliens.
No, unidentified flying objects.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Seriously, you can't say with any definitive proof that they are from another planet or, an alien race, but there's something flying around out there, and it's not just flying in the air. It flies in the air and it submerges itself.
That's the,
but does this guy think that in Area 51 they're going to open some warehouse and there's going to be dead alien bodies or something? And still, why would that? We've all thought that for 50 years. Why would that cause a great deal of panic? And the QAnon people will celebrate because they'll think it's truly the coming of the next thing,
I didn't even put those two things together. I didn't even put those two things. Hey, you're right.
That's what they're living for.
You're right. I didn't put those two things together, but you are absolutely right about that. They are going to celebrate it. Look, I think it's going to, whatever they come out with, I think it goes one of two ways. We are all truly so shocked at what they tell us, or it is the biggest disappointing letdown in the history of ever. And that's,
that's what it's going to be.
That's the U.S. government for you.
Yeah.
It is going to feel like a pretty big letdown. I don't know, but I think we're all but confirmed, as Lola corrected me, it is, there are unidentified flying objects out there. That one video, that thing coming up out of the sea, like if that thing's real, that it goes from the earth down into it comes back up. There is so much, I love the ocean documentaries and stuff like that. I'm fascinated by the ocean. And we don't even know like a tenth of what's down there. Nothing. We know nothing about the ocean compared to what there is actually to know. There are places that are so deep and so dark, you couldn't possibly find anything down there.
Remember the movie The Abyss?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I keep referring to, The Abyss.
Yeah, there's so much of it. Like you couldn't, there's no amount of light, they don't know what's down there. And boy, would that be something if they find out that it's actually more, these unidentified flying objects are all coming from the sea. What if Atlantis is real? We don't know.
There's castles built down there, and that's what they come out of.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to see. I would bet, even if they dropped a bombshell, like something we couldn't believe, normal people are sitting there with our, they announce this thing while we're on the air and our jaws are dropped like, oh my goodness. There will still be more popularity around the Kardashians than there will be about this story.
That's what I don't understand, why he would even make her. I cannot. I can't think of nothing that they could reveal. Not a spaceship, not alien dead bodies, live alien bodies, reproducing alien bodies. There's nothing that I think would just devastate humankind with the information. We're too jaundiced at this point.
Yeah,
we don't believe anything they say.
Well, I was going to say, there's part of the conspiracy, and this isn't a QAnon conspiracy, but just part of the conspiracy theories that are out there as this whole thing was meant to confuse us. This whole pandemic was meant to confuse, again, conspiracy theory, not me, conspiracy theory, meant to confuse us because of what we're about to learn. It'll just seem like no big deal. I think it's going to be a huge letdown.
Oh, I have the utmost faith in that statement.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge letdown. You've been around a little longer than I have, and so I wish I could see the world through your eyes sometimes, but sometimes I do. You say things, and I'm just like, boy, I bet that was something. But the whole Area 51 thing, there's been movies about it. It's kind of the corner piece of the movie Independence Day, which was one of the biggest space alien movies that we've ever had in this country or in the world, as far as Hollywood goes. And it's based in that Area 51. people, I mean, there are people, remember they were going to storm Area 51?
Yeah.
Was that 2018? I think it was just like, we're going to demand answers, and like 6 people showed up. I don't even know if it was 6.
Yeah.
But what if it's there? What if there's something there? What if that's what they tell us? Will your mind be blown?
Not blown, but I will be shocked that they actually reveal anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust them. I mean, I'll be honest. But what I do trust are the particularly military people that have seen things that are unexplainable, because they're trained. You know, it's not like some guy on a beach that thinks he sees something coming out of the water at him, you know, and it could have been half that bottle of tequila that he just pounded down. So, but military pilots and these Navy guys on these huge ships that have seen stuff on radar that they cannot explain. You know, I trust what they're reporting. And like the one pilot, she said, you try and justify what you've just seen in your mind and compare it to past experiences, you know, to life experiences. So you're going, that can't possibly be, until it doesn't go away, or it does strange things that you know are, to us, are impossible to do, you know, the speed and what always gets me is that there's never a heat signature. We have nothing that can go without some type of heat signature.
Yeah.
And yet these things don't have it.
No, it's weird. Some of the videos that have come out, especially in the last couple of years, are just like, you know, I remember seeing the first one as a kid, or at least one of my first memories of seeing aliens as a kid. And honestly, it looked like, remember those little, like, they looked like styrofoam and they tasted like styrofoam, but they were like those little discs you could eat.
Yeah.
I remember it looked like one of those on a string, just like, you know, teetering out there. And like, it was
Probably was.
Yeah, and it probably was. I don't know if video's gotten so good it's easy to fool you, but boy, when you look at some of those things and you're just like, that's not fake. That's not fake. And I mean, anything can be fake these days, but I don't know. I'm excited about this in a weird way. Like I said, I'm more of an ocean guy, but this is so fascinating. And if they somehow come up with a reason we don't know what's down in the sea is because we don't want to know, that won't shock me either.
You should see some of the video out of Peru of, you know, things flying about. And they're not shy about saying, we don't know what it is. And they've produced all kinds of videos taken from, you know, telescopes and from their military and everything. It's quite fascinating.
It is. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, whatever it is. This came up before, but I guess it's now been proven. Just to kind of change subjects here as we get ready to go to a break. There is no tuna in the Subway tuna fish.
I heard that, and that's disgusting.
I can't, like...
What the hell is it?
It has 0 traces of tuna DNA.
Then what is it?
No, I don't know.
See, it's like this fake chicken stuff. You know, it has no meat in it, but it tastes like chicken. Well, wait a minute. Somehow you are making it taste like chicken. And if you want to be that healthy that you have to eat plants, then you don't need the chemicals that they are putting in it to make it taste like chicken.
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know if anybody else does this, but it works for me because it takes the thinking out of it. I like to cook. I mean, you know, sometimes you see me eating lunch. It's like a fairly fancy lunch sometimes. And I get a Hello Fresh box.
Oh, I was doing something else, but the same thing.
Yeah, and I got to say, I really enjoy it because, you know, you take the bag out and all the stuff's in there.
I know, and it's a lot of work. work.
It is. It's a lot of work. There's actually one that they actually offer meals that you could just, put into preheat the oven and just put them in.
Yeah.
And I would rather do that because especially now my time is really pressed. But I like the idea of cooking. I like chopping. I like it. I kind of find it cathartic. So excuse me. I've been getting these. So I opened the box last Wednesday, and they accidentally sent me a plant-based protein meal. And it's like, it says right on the package, plant power or something. I immediately sent an email. I'm like, I'm not paying for this. I'm not, no. This is put it this way, I should have put a flag emoji at the end of my email I was like, no, I wasn't trying to Karen it up, and I hate that term. I'm sorry, anybody named Karen. But I was like, I would never order this. There is no chance. There's a chance I will buy a battery-operated car before I buy a plant-based protein meal from you. So please. So yeah, never do that again. Whatever I can do. I will, you know what I am going to do? I am going to make it. Because now that I have a reason to try, because it's in my freezer, it's in my refrigerator.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to make it. I'll make it exactly the way the instructions come. And I'm going to
it'll taste like chicken.
I don't know. It's meat. It's it's supposed to be like I think it's a meatloaf or meatballs something. And I am going to try it. You know what I really wish I could do is that someone would trick me and just say, "Hey, I picked you up a burger." I'm like, "Oh, great." And then after I eat it, tell me see if I go, "Oh, this is a terrible burger," or if I even notice. That's how I would like to try this for the first time. It's just not. I'd like to get tricked. I'd totally like to get tricked because that way, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine a world where somebody brings in a tray full of burgers and like every other burger is plant-based. Like I'm going to the rib and chicken cook-off. I assure you, no one is going to have a plant-based rib or chicken. And if they do, I can't tell you that I want to try it, but I would love to be tricked into trying it to decide if I really thought it tasted right or not. I know people that swear by it. I have a friend that came to town last week from Minneapolis. I hadn't seen him, obviously, since the pandemic. I haven't seen him in nearly 2 years because of that. And he looked great. Lost a lot. He actually lost like 40 pounds since the last time I saw him. I was like, wow, man, you look great. And he said, I started to incorporate a plant-based diet. And I said, well, don't you miss meat? And he said, well, no, I eat like the plant meat. I was like, I'd rather be fat. I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
It's about my sentiment.
And then I proceeded to eat a giant permane sandwich made with steak. And that's how I wanted it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into a few more subjects as we get ready to end today's show at 5 o'clock. We'll be happy to take your calls at 304-214-1600. Anything you want to talk about today. I still got a list of stuff, but we'll take your questions, comments, and concerns here on The Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. State lawmakers will be in Charleston tomorrow for a special session. The agenda includes a one-year freeze on the regional jail per diem rates for counties. Kanawha County Commission President Ken Carper says the year-long freeze on rates should give lawmakers enough time to fix it.
The legislature needs to do something about this. The legislature, the leadership of the legislature has promised local government, local taxpayers, that they know this is an unfair system and they were going to fix it.
Carper says there needs to be a revenue stream to pay for housing inmates. The recent death of the son of Montague County lawmaker Danielle Walker will be the focus of a blood drive tomorrow at the Capitol. Dimitri Walker was just 23 when he died earlier this month of leukemia. Kanawha County Delegate Mike Pushkin says Walker was thankful for the Red Cross.
He was receiving blood transfusions, and I think one of his wishes was to pay back the Red Cross that were providing him with these blood transfusions that were keeping him alive during those couple of weeks.
The blood drive, which is open to the public, will go from 1 until 6 outside the House chamber. Delegate Walker will be in town for the special session. Active cases of COVID-19 in West Virginia, which are today under 2,000, are at their lowest level since May 30th, 2020. The state recorded less than 100 new cases today. The latest numbers at our website, the story posted, WVMetronews.com. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. 5 years after the devastating June 2016 flood in parts of West Virginia, White Sulphur Springs resident Josh Hayes has a new home because of volunteers who built it.
We kept coming back and looking, seeing the progress, and they wrote little notes and stuff on the inside of the walls and stuff.
Today's the anniversary of the flood that claimed 23 lives. We cover it at our website. Marshall County now under a state of emergency following flash flooding there earlier this week. Most of the damage concentrated around Cameron. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by the Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. The Detroit Pistons won the NBA Draft Lottery yesterday. They will pick first in the upcoming NBA Draft, while the Rockets select second, followed by the Cavaliers, Raptors, and Magic in the top 5. The rest of the top 10 includes the Thunder, Warriors from the Timberwolves, the Magic, Kings, and Pelicans. The Hornets, Spurs, Pacers, and Warriors round out the draft lottery order. In the College World Series yesterday, the Texas Longhorns eliminated the Tennessee Volunteers with an 8-4 victory, and then Mississippi State rallied for a win over Virginia last night, 6-5. Tonight, there's an elimination game on tap as Stanford meets Vanderbilt on ESPN. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by the Score on the Watchdog.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. N626.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But you cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go. For advice on solutions like XPS 13 laptops powered by Intel Evo platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Find the right tool for the job and get 11% off everything at Menards. Spax Power Lags Fasteners offer superior installation, performance, and durability over traditional screws. They hold your building project together. Build stronger decks, walls, and floors with Spax Power Lags. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheSkin.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheSkin.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheSkin.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The Ohio Valley Rib and Chicken Cook-Off is back, featuring the best ribs your taste buds can handle. Come on down to Wheeling's Heritage Port June 25th and 26th to see who can win the coveted Karen Bauer Trophy. Admission is free, so stop by for live music, free cornhole tournament, beer garden, and more. The Ohio Valley Rib and Chicken Cook-Off, June 25th and 26th at Wheeling's Heritage Port.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Hoppy Kercheval inviting you to join me weekdays, 10 till noon for a statewide talk line. We talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia. We talk with top political figures, sports personalities, and sometimes just us folks talking, all offering our opinions on what's happening today. 10 till noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. I sing her in a smoky room. I smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night.
Welcome back to Real Big Talk. It's 4:42 Wednesday afternoon, and speaking of South Detroit, Detroit elated. Last night they won the NBA draft lottery, so they will get the first pick. The Pistons.
First ever time they've won it.
Yeah, the Pistons, and obviously the Pistons in the past have been able to build some pretty solid teams. I mean, you want to talk way past. But for me, that's the time I loved NBA basketball.
Me too.
You know,
wore short white shorts.
well, I loved it for a different reason, especially the Pistons, because they were tough. They were mean. You went to Detroit, you were going to get beat up.
Yep.
I mean, Michael Jordan, who is the best ever, got beat up.
Yep.
In Detroit. So they, the spirit of the Pistons is certainly there, and happy that they are going to get the number one draft pick. Yeah, absolutely happy they're going to get that number one draft pick. And that brings me to my next point. Basketball right now, the NBA is killing it. It's so fun to watch. And right now on FanDuel Sportsbook, you got to just be going crazy. If you've been watching the NBA playoffs from the sidelines, now is the perfect time to get in on the action with FanDuel Sportsbook. Because during the conference finals, new users get 30-1 odds on any team to win their next game. Any team to win their next game. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. You got to love the conference finals last night. The way the Suns game ended last night was pure magic. Pure magic for the Suns last night. And there's even more ways to win on FanDuel throughout the playoffs. And when you do win, your money is a layup. You'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. Plus, the app is so easy to use. Just sign up and use promo code RICK to bet the NBA Conference Finals with 30-1 odds. Once again, that's promo code RICK. Spell it R-I-C to unlock 30-1 odds on any playoff team to win their next game exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. That Suns game last night was awesome. 21 and over, present in West Virginia. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first bet deposit required. $150 max bonus. See full terms and conditions at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Visit www.1800gambler.net. Did you watch the end of that game last night?
I saw it highlights.
That is it.
0.7 of a second.
That's a bold move, Cotton, but they nailed it. They nailed it. We got somebody in line, too.
Larry?
Hey, Larry, what's up?
Well, hi, Rick. What's up? UFOs are up.
They are up. They're up everywhere. They're up and down. I mean, they're going into the water. They're going everywhere.
Well, I haven't related this to anyone in a long time, but it's things that my brother told me. My brother passed away 15 years ago. He retired from the United States Air Force. And he had seen he's was a lot older than me, 13 years older, so he went back a long way in the Air Force. But years and years ago, before all this talk about the UFOs, he told me stories that I didn't understand. At first, all he would ever tell me was that he was in the intelligence and sometimes a courier. That's all he was allowed to say. That's all he would relate. Except when I get loosen his lips a little bit with Saki. But he would tell me about different planets. This was in the 1970s. This was before the Hubble Space Telescope and discovering other planets around other solar systems. And he would name them like XR71, 294. I said, well, how do you know these things? I can't tell you, but you'll hear about it. And about 10 years later, I did hear about it. Well, he was at Area 51, Groom Lake is what it's referred to, Groom Lake in Nevada. And he would tell me, just start telling me about things like that, about UFOs. But all the things that he told me came to fruition, which was very little. Like I said, he was limited as to the things he could say. He was at Area 51, Groom Lake, and he went to Wright-Patterson over in Ohio, of course. And later on, I found out that's where they supposedly took the alien bodies to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I didn't notice this time until I saw it on television. I'm going back many, many, many years. But all the things that he told me is true, and he confirmed that there are UFOs. Now, he liked to joke like anyone else, and he would laugh and joke, but when he was dead serious, there was no mistake about it, and he was dead serious. There are UFOs.
I think that if you just look at what we've seen, during the last year, I don't think there's any argument by anybody at this point that UFOs don't exist. And I understand your I don't know, I don't want to call it frustration, but I have a friend, a very good friend of mine, who works for the FBI, and he does not disclose things that he shouldn't. And as you know, as I know you're a pretty dedicated listener, and we talk quite frequently, I love to ask questions. I'm a question guy. That's what I do. I question everything, and no matter what, I mean, he'll give me he'll give me just a little chunk. And then I'll run with it. And it's just like, I can't tell you.
I can't tell you.
Get out of here. You can tell. I was like, who's going to know? And he was like, I can't tell you. And I think he does it on purpose because he knows I'm going to ask a million questions. But I get it. And so when you're talking about something that it's like maybe you shouldn't have known at the time, but isn't it crazy when this stuff kind of comes out now? And here's my overall question about everything. How do so many people know things and keep them quiet? I mean, if they're taking alien bodies through an Air Force base somewhere or things like that, there's a lot of people in an Air Force base. How does this stuff stay under wraps? Because as we continue to age, more people continue to get this information or see some information, even if it's not the old stuff, they're getting the new stuff. How's nobody been able to piece these stories together to prove that some of these things have happened? I think it's fascinating. I think the cover-up's fascinating.
The threats and intimidation. Yes, this occurs in the United States of America and in the military. Threats and intimidation. If you tell, that's it.
You know, I
What's it? That's it, buddy. That is it. You know what that's it means. But yeah, there are threats and intimidation. My brother was never allowed to tell what he did in the Air Force. Never. He retired in the Air Force, a senior master sergeant.
Wow.
And he knew an awful lot, but he would just give me bits and pieces. But everything he did say came to fruition. I learned about it years later, and more and more I thought, how did he know this 20, 25, 30 years ago? But the Air Force has known this for a long, long, long time. Excuse me.
It's
but
wild.
Nothing's been said because a lot of people are afraid to say something. And they're afraid of being branded and labeled a nut. Basically.
When I was a kid, I had a friend who's I became really close with him and his family, and they would invite me to different types of events and things like that. And he had an uncle who, whatever he did in the military, was something that the entire family kept silent. And when he went to, and I was pretty young, but I was old enough to kind of recognize what I saw. When I would see this guy, he's, completely present, a presence in the room. And then after he retired, he became a whole different person. And it was kind of like whatever it is that he knew, I don't know how they debrief somebody or whatever, but he was an entirely different person after his time in the military. And I always kind of wondered, and I was a kid, I wouldn't have asked, and I wouldn't ask now, even if I saw the guy, if he's still on the planet. But I always kind of wondered what the circumstance is when it's like, you're getting out, so here's what you don't know anymore, and how they make you forget it, or at least push it to a place. I have no idea how that works. I'm not a strong enough person to do that, but I can tell you this. That man was a different person from the time I met him until the last time I saw him, and all that had changed was he retired from the military.
Okay, yeah, you know pretty much what it's all about. Then yeah, it's really it gets spooky, but there are, according to my brother. Now he said there are UFOs. There's no doubt about it. There are unidentified flying. I said UFOs. He said, you mean unidentified flying objects? Yes. He says yes.
Yeah,
there are.
Isn't that wild?
And he reminded me a lot of Mr. Spock on Star Trek in a lot of ways, because Mr. Spock liked to joke too, but it was kind of a dry humor, and he would always tell you the truth. That's what he reminded me of, Mr. Spock.
It is. It's pretty wild.
There are UFOs.
I know you're going to be very interested in seeing this report that's supposed to come out in July.
Well, I already know.
I was going to say, hell, it might be your report. You might be the one putting it out.
Oh no, not me! Don't say that. There'll be guys in sunglasses and black suits on my doorstep.
Yeah, the MIB's coming. Thanks for the call, pal. I appreciate it.
Hey, buddy. Thanks. Have a good day.
Sure. Take care. Bye. Look, that happens. That happens. There are people that know things that just, sometimes, like I said, I've tried to get my buddy for years to tell me things. And I'll blatantly ask him. And I don't care how many he's tipped back. Ain't coming out. It's just not coming out. I just don't know how. Isn't it amazing to you how this stuff has stayed as under wraps as it's under? I think it's phenomenal that it's not something that's just blabbed so much.
Because Larry's right. You just don't tell. And the threat is there. And that's why the other day we were talking about leaked things that are leaked. They're leaked because that's what they're meant to be, leaked. Otherwise, all this other stuff would have come out long ago. But no, there is a huge difference. When somebody says, oh, it's a leaked document. Yeah, it's because somebody left it on, the receptionist's desk, turned the right side so that everybody could read it, There are no accidents.
I don't know. This thing's blowing my mind. I know it's going to be a letdown, a colossal letdown probably. Larry probably knows more about it than we'll actually find out in this.
I'm sure.
In this document, but it is something that I do look forward to seeing. A couple other things on the list before we're all done for the day. Something you brought up the other day, and now it is just so much fun to watch. I never thought it would add excitement to the game, but now that umpires are checking pitchers for substances, it's turning into an absolute circus. An absolute circus.
3 times they searched Scherzer.
I know. Did you see?
Yeah, the guy dropping his pants.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to search me? Here it is.
It's how I feel. It's how I feel at the airport. As soon as I go to the airport, as soon as I get to TSA, I don't know if it's just. It must be the way I look. I don't know if it's that I'm a bigger person. I don't know what it is, but I go and I know as soon as that it's up. You happen to be the lucky contestant. Well, I fly, up until the pandemic, I flew frequently. I was flying back and forth to Florida once or twice a month. So I was on a plane consistently. And it never fails. It never fails. So last night, if you're not sure what we're talking about, umpires in Major League Baseball are now supposed to check pitchers for any substances on their hands or on their bodies that they could put on the ball, doctor the baseball, if you will, and normally it's to get a better sink on the ball. So Max Scherzer, who is one of the premier pitchers in Major League Baseball, he got checked 3 times last night in the game. And so the Phillies manager asked the umpires to check him. Hilarity ensues while Scherzer stares down the Phillies manager. The Phillies manager waits till Scherzer gets in the dugout, because that's what you do. You wait till someone's gone, and then you run out and you got to run your mouth. It actually added excitement to a very boring game. I loved it. I let this thing go 4 hours. Baseball's embarrassing. It's like, we're going to do this to cut down on doctoring the baseball. Here's the thing. Adding time to a game I already don't want to watch 9 innings of. Like, you got me. I'll watch a little baseball because I love the game of baseball. But innings 1, 2, and 3 don't often look different than 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9 could be all I needed to watch. And now you're going to add some extra time in there. At least it's entertaining. At least I wanted to watch Max Scherzer fist fight a manager from the Phillies.
Well, he got thrown out. Like, because he's like trying to cross the field. It's like, what are you, an idiot? First of all, Scherzer's going to clean your clock, dude.
Oh,
and you're going to make this.
Yeah, I know. Baseball just can't get it right. Here's where I think baseball can win. Add a little WWE to it.
Yeah. I'm going to put a cage in the middle of the thing.
Get maybe like where, maybe behind the net, take out some of those seats and actually put in a fight cage. Yeah, I think that could work. I think that could work. Maybe have John Cena come out, hit you with a chair. And just give me something that... So, yeah, I was like, I'm for the excitement of this. And when it's over, I'll turn this game off because I won't care anymore. So, yeah, baseball is doing baseball things and screwing it up. And screwing it up royally. Hockey. The hockey's been good. The hockey has been really good. It looks like Tampa Bay might actually repeat in this. Last year, I know it's nauseating.
Yeah.
I hate Florida hockey. When I lived in Florida, I was so happy there was an ECHL team in the city I lived in, and I would go see the Everblades go. I would see that a lot, but the idea of the Stanley Cup living continuously in Florida is not acceptable to my brain.
No.
I can't root for Vegas hard enough, although I think maybe they have missed the opportunity to shut it down. I don't want the Islanders to win either, and I can't root for Montreal. I just can't. Although it does, I would rather, I think, see that cup go back to Canada than sit in Florida. It's going to be interesting, though. The hockey playoffs have been very good. We're done. We'll come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, do it all again. We'll take your phone calls then. So for the rest of the evening, for Lola, I'm Rick. You have a pleasant evening, and take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you tomorrow, too.